Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, the thing is, we don't have only our being, our noble essence. We also have this box and a gremlin. And when I'm really going into this work, my gremlin and my box freak out. They want me to stop at all costs. On levels that I don't even know how they create that, but and just getting to the lab was really challenging. That the hill road was closed, and it looked like we couldn't get there, and we ended up taking a water taxi, and all the boxes involved were freaking out. Yeah, and it's a great story. It's really a legend, but I keep having that coming to Australia, not getting the visa. It's all sorts of stuff, and I'm like, how is this possible? Like, I really want to be there, but there's these denying forces at work. So if I pay a price that is, let's say, cheap to my box or easily accessible to my box, when this denying force comes in, it doesn't hurt me to go and just leave it. So the money is really a buying in also into this commitment. Like, the money is not about you paying me a lot of money. It's about committing to yourself with an amount that really shows the value also that you can get out of that, and that sort of keeps you going. Like, I've heard even trainers say, like, their first labs and ETBs they were like, they wanted to quit, but then they were thinking of, oh fuck, but I've paid so much money, I'm going to go full in. So it can be actually like fuel, like rocket fuel, to go in deeper. So it's about the value. It's not about money, it's about the value of the training. And are there other possibilities? Yes. That's the empowering thing, is ask for what you need. Like, can you make, installments, pay in installments, and tell us how many installments you want to pay over which period of time. So come with a proposal that works for you. That's what comes up for me here. Do you have anything to add, Kiri?
Yeah, the money issue is challenging for my box also, and yeah, I think it's also around our cultural attitudes towards things like personal development and the value that's placed on that. The work that I do professionally in providing training is much better paid than the work that I'm doing in impossibility management, even though it seems like a lot of money in terms of the amount of effort that goes into kind of publicizing work and being present in the PM community and yeah, putting the word out there and doing all the admin and getting the venue together, and like, yeah, there's that side of things. Like, this is actually what it costs to be able to do this work for a living. And we're not paying money to like Clinton or something. Like, the money is coming to us, but it means that we can support our families and pay our rent and live our lives. I've had times in my life where I've run trainings, like public facing trainings around other work that I do, and charged, quite, what I would say is quite low for that, like, $20 a person or $50 a person or something like that. And I it ends up dropping it off my agenda because it's not sustainable for me in terms of putting that amount of energy into something and not being able to then live on the proceeds of it. So that's, I don't know, that's kind of the practical side of it. And then I've noticed for myself, yeah, the way that I can use money to, as an energy, I can use money in a conscious way around my intention. So I've started just, yeah, using money as gratitude, and using money as wanting to change the energy of it, because it is so bound up in our culture around scarcity. Wanting to use money in a more generous way, I guess, and really in service, not just in a generous way, but in an intentional way. Like, I am using my money to invest in the kind of world that I want to bring into being, the kind of world that I want to live in, and paying people adequately, more than adequately, paying people well for holding these kinds of spaces and doing this kind of work is something that I am personally committed to. And I've noticed other people in our community making that commitment to me, and the power that that has to me in my sense of motivation and my commitment to this work. And I've seen people come to this training who have very little money, who have like scraped it together from friends and family or whatever they've done. And I've seen people turn away from wanting to do this work because of the finances. And at the end of the day, it's a choice.
I feel like there's like a level under that, you know, there's a question in me about like, what are the useful conversations to be had when someone comes along and says, actually, I don't think I can do this because of the finances. I feel like that's just that can sometimes be like the cover reason, but how can we help each other and people that might want to come into this work have the deeper conversation and the deeper inquiry about what's really important for them to invest in their own like personal development, and you know, to give them a sense of like an embodied yes and a commitment to this kind of work for themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, I think from what Maya shared, I feel really similarly, like people in my life, like activist-y types who, do live in more of a scarcity mindset, I guess, and who do scrape stuff together. That I feel like, I've felt too embarrassed to ask some people. And I think, it does come down to not valuing, like certainly was for me, not valuing myself. And money being yucky and so I don't know. It's big shifts that are needed, I think.
Big ongoing conversation to have.
There's just conversations like this that are about the community, and not just not questioning the value of the work or why it would need to cost that much. I feel like that's a fairly kind of capitalist level kind of conversation in a way, the value of it, why it costs that. Don't really care. I'm like, as in like it's not the primary concern for me. But being that we live in a capitalist context and there are structural inequalities, and I value the different choices that people make in their lives that don't equip them with finances, that don't that people aren't as resourced with different backups of ways to scrape together money. And I think the time is, feels a kind of urgent to be moving forward collectively and growing the team. That I want to find a way through. I want to find a way to be having those conversations. And it doesn't seem like there's often space for conversation about community issues in a way in possibility management, because it's not something that we prioritize having a conversation. It's not something that I've experienced much. So,
Mm.
yeah.
About community issues.
Mm.
What do you mean?
Yeah, as in like, I feel like in other communities, you might sit around and discuss things that relate to the community, around building community or obstacles or whatever. But we don't prioritize having discussions that maybe appear like a head discussion. I don't necessarily think it has to be, but yeah. Yeah. So I would like to find more possibilities for that, creative possibilities to work through that, and you know, if I go on this journey, I would like to bring, you know, some people with me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe we could all pay a little bit more and have a scholarship fund.
Yeah, I was thinking mutual aid kind of situation.
Mm.
Or sliding scale that will goes up, like, you know, often at the end of labs as a optional trainer fee, but that just usually is just that how much that person wants to pay. I wonder how it's possible for people to support each other.
Yeah, what's important for me is that it's an empowering situation for everyone involved. So, I mean, really, what we're diving in is this land of radical responsibility, and that means, you know, being able to source, like being able to source what I need, but also being able to source what the planet needs, what is needed. And so then I want to empower people to source the money they need to be able to participate. So how can I do that? And I really like that opens up the conversation, really, because that could be one of the really biggest things that are valuable to get for you to get out of Expand the Box. Is like, how can you source that which is really important to you? And in this case, money, but in other cases, other stuff. And when I hear you speak, Amaya, I hear this: we don't talk about it in possibility management, and responsibility knows no we. Like, how are you talking about it, and what do you need to be able to talk about it, to bring this into this community, to open those conversations? Maybe you do. The way you said we don't talk about it. I mean, there's a lot of people talking about a lot of things in this world, global village. And so to empower each one of you to create those forums, to get the possibility team together to ask for possibilities, or say, here, hey, can we have a conversation about money? I need some possibilities. You already said that you want some possibilities. So yeah, we could have a possibility speaking about that and see, you know, already started a little bit. Hello.
Yeah, I like it when, you know, you say, I can imagine having a conversation with someone who says like, yeah, that sounds really interesting, but oh, it just costs too much, you know, and then to go straight away to like, well, money doesn't have to be an issue, like really inviting that person to consider if they really want to do this work, then yeah, letting them know that there's pathways to pay for it, and that, you know, trainers like you both will support ways of finding that together, or, you know, having conversations about it, like, because then you can go to the next step of what the real barrier actually is, of like, oh, actually now I don't have time to think about it. And it's like, well, okay, cool, so that's the next conversation. What do you need to really commit to yourself to create the time, or, you know, to think about how to create a pathway into this work? So it's like,
Yeah, and I'm reminded of your experimenting with money piles, Aurora, Rita.
yeah,
Really exciting, empowering and awesome. And
Want to get a clock?
What is that? The money piles?
Oh, we did for the empathy cafes that we ran. I did this process that's by Dominic Barter, where there was a pool of money at the end of like the cafe, and whoever helped to facilitate and organize the cafe, we came together and then decided like through a compassionate communication process, like where to push and pull the money from the pile. And we would say like, I'd like to push this to you for this reason, and then I need this amount for me, and you know, you just kind of keep going around until all the money from the pile is gone. So it's just a different way of like sharing money in the pile with a group of people. Yeah.
And I also acknowledge I'm too scared to do that with firekeepers at the moment. But it was inspiring.
Yeah.
And in the videos that you sent, there's people actually in the audience still at the end of the event, the weekend event, and they yeah, the facilitators say how much they need to be paid and the costs of the thing, whatever. And then so people can see that there's not actually that much there, and people offer more. So the pile can actually grow within the process. People can see where it's going. They're like, no, I think you probably should get more, whatever. Like, it's a dynamic process. Yeah.
Yeah, and it requires like a lot of, you know, trust, and it's edgy and uncomfortable to receive and ask for what we need, and expenses are included in it as well. You know, it's like that's the first thing that comes out of the pile. Yeah, but it's definitely a commitment to like, you know, like collecting the funds in the beginning, but not knowing like how much you'll get until the end, and everyone being a part of that.
Yeah. I really enjoyed, surprisingly, I enjoyed paying for space. I enjoyed paying for Rage Club and asking Julia to hold space for me. I found it incredibly empowering to realize I have money and that I can choose where I put it, and I can use it to create how I want to feel in my life.
Mm.
And it felt great.
Ooh.
That was new to me.
I feel that our time together is coming to a close. And I'd like to invite each of us to, just to check out with a word or two about what's alive in you in this moment.
Yes. But yes.
Like, yes, that's two. There you go.
That's 2 words.
Curiosity undulations.
Curiosity undulations.
Joy options. Joy and options. Discovery, I guess.
The tension of trying to figure something out and the space beside it.
Preparing for flight.
Preparing for flight.
Flight.
Flight, yes. Preparing for flight.
Alive in me is fear and joy and sadness. And being touched, I want to say that more words, being touched by the depth of just this conversation and honesty. I find it deeply nourishing. Thank you.
Zephy, do you have any last words? You've been to a lab.
Yeah. Do you want to say something, Zephy? Zephy's got some jewels. He's got bags of jewels. He's just found. So.
Very appropriate.
Yeah.
A bag of jewels.
Yeah.
He's always so good at participating at the appropriate times.
Yeah, he's connected to source.
Yeah.
Millie, you looked like you had something else to say. Was that accurate?
I did. I just feel like women should solve all the problems in the world, sit down, go deep, be brave.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. And. Yes, and. Thank you for showing up, for joining us last minute, and yes.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah.
At the moment, the web page says to